Hello and welcome to Science Unscripted. It's Conor here.
And Gabe.
We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to start with a couple of emails. Gabe, these two are related to an interview that you were not a part of. That boys between the ages of 3 and 10 give better directions than girls if they have a map.
If they have a map, somebody asks them, how do I get to there?
Yeah.
They can tell that person better than girls can.
Yes, they can. And I talked to Nardine Yacoub from New Jersey about why that's the case. The emails are about that. And one is from Elizabeth, who, it's a very long email. Thank you, Elizabeth, for sending such a detailed email. The gist of it is that I had kind of said maybe there's a difference for me because I'm not good at directions. Maybe it's because I live in Germany and I'm less familiar with it. And she confirms that. She moved to Germany. And she basically talks about how in the U.S. all the streets are grid-like, and she can navigate those really well. And here in Germany, she is lost. It's a disaster. If you get on the Autobahn, I'm quoting the email, it doesn't even say which direction you're going, just to which city. And so if she wants to go west on the Autobahn, on the highway, first I need to know that Stuttgart is west of me. And even if I don't want to go to Stuttgart, normally I wouldn't even bother noticing west of Stuttgart, then you still have to know that.
And it sometimes mentions a city that's really, really far away. So if you have no knowledge of German geography, you have no idea where you're going.
Or where Luxembourg is.
You're on the A8 to Stuttgart. What if I don't know where that is?
Exactly. And then she flips it. Her husband's German, and when he's in the U.S., he has a really difficult time. So probably cultural context, where you grew up, is relevant. The other email, very interesting. I'll just summarize it here. This one from Charlie, retired archaeologist who listens to the show. He had a class of 22 students, and 6, they were men and women, could not really understand the contours on a map.
3D map or what?
Yeah. You know when it shows elevation, gain, and drop?
Oh, topography.
Yes. Their brains couldn't do that. He tried explaining it to them. They couldn't. And so I think his suggestion there is that...
All women or all men?
No, men and women. No difference in his little sample, his anecdote.
Okay.
The point being, there may be brain differences, clear brain differences in some people. 6 of 16 students, 2 were able to see a 3-dimensional image of the map in their mind's eye. The others had no difficulty understanding the 3D information on the 2D map. 6 of them, men and women, looked at this thing and they're just like, what are all these squiggly lines? I don't get that. Interesting anecdote.
Like magic eye. Do you remember that?
Oh.
Some people could get magic eye, others couldn't.
You just crossed your eyes.
I couldn't do it.
Could you not?
No.
Oh, you missed it.
To this day.
A fascinating world.
Destroyed my confidence, and here I am now, sitting in the studio talking to you.
And there's an email that you have inside your head.
Michaela Kavanagh.
Michaela is how you pronounce it.
Michaela Kavanagh, a colleague, a DW colleague of ours.
I worked with her.
Was visiting family in Saskatchewan and met with her great aunt who lives in Winnipeg. Right? Obviously, that's not in Saskatchewan. It's in Manitoba. Anyways, let me get to the point. She said, I work for DW.
Our colleague did.
Yeah, Michaela. Yeah. And her great aunt said, oh, I know DW. I love that show, Science Unscripted, that comes on at 3 in the morning on the CBC. I wake up with the show and listen to it on headphones.
Yeah, she had, if I remember the email correctly, she has some sleeping issues, wakes up in the middle of the night, but tries to prime her subconscious.
Or is that how she does it?
Yeah, to wake up right at 3 a.m. That's when we're on the radio there.
Yeah.
So that she can hear us. I don't think your name was mentioned, or if it was, I've forgotten it. I'm sorry about that. I think you're about 70 years old.
Deanna.
Oh, Deanna.
Deanna. Thank you, Deanna. If you're listening to this right now at 3 in the morning, I'm sorry that you're listening to this at 3 in the morning, but thank you. From the bottom of our proverbial heart here?
Yeah, for real.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, this message is for you. On to the science.
Make this quick. We got to move.
We do. Okay. Are you familiar with the app Shazam, Gabe?
You play it and then you can hear exactly what song, or you know what song is playing. If you hear even 3 notes of a song, you play it and then you know.
Yeah, put the app on. I used it a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
I was getting a t-shirt and then the song was on and I opened this app and it recognized the song.
What was the song?
Méditerranée from Junior, if I'm saying it right. Like Junior with an E
you
on the end.
You were down in Greece. That's
Méditerranée.
Right.
It's about the Mediterranean. I loved it. I still love it.
Sure.
So this app takes information from the real world and gives you information. A company called Osmo, based in New York, former Google researcher, wants the future to be the same, to create something like Shazam for smells.
Wow.
You're out somewhere.
What is that smell?
What is that smell? You open the app and your smartphone, in that case, tells you what that smell is. Yeah. Now, how would it do that? It would have to have a sensor reading all of these various molecules
Chemicals, yeah.
and chemicals. And this company, this startup, has used machine learning basically to say, look, if this molecule is in the air, humans call it this. It doesn't matter why we call it that. It could be meaty, it could be fruity, it could be a banana.
Lavender.
Could be barbecue smell, it could be toilet smell, it could be a rotten egg. That's what humans do. So they are trying to create a system where not just, it'd probably be computers at first, but then also smartphones can identify what's in the air. My immediate
And then would
thought-
it tell you the molecule, or would it tell you the smell that you think you
What
remember?
is it? What is it? You're smelling the remnants of a charcoal barbecue. It depends how they program it. At the base level, kind of cool for people like this lady I stayed with in Austria who took us up into the Alpine meadows and ended up with, she cried and said, I want to capture this smell as a perfume. And I was kind of trying to smell the air, like how do you define all of these smells coming through the air right now? Yeah. That app would obviously help you to do that in connection with a perfumery. Yeah. What long term, why is it important? You and I have reported on medical breath analysis, the idea that we humans breathe out chemical compounds, volatile organic compounds, and then when we're sick, you can measure them. When we're stressed, you can measure that through human breath. Dogs can smell this with various forms of cancer. If they're smelling blood, they can, diabetes.
Our olfactory sense also wanes with time. So as we get older,
right,
it would be nice to know what we're smelling, because we can kind of get it. But
yeah,
what is it? What is that again?
So here's a wild future. The year is 2070, and you're sitting at your computer, and the computer says, "Warning, warning, your stress is too high. Take a 5-minute break."
Oh my God! Yeah.
Now the dystopian version would be, based on our readings, you're not working hard enough. Work harder. Right? But an interesting future to ponder, and with big medical implications.
Speaking of smell, how about fruit flies and alcohol? Let's go to the University of Texas, El Paso. They wanted to answer the question, why when we drink with friends are we most of the time quite happy and effervescent? You drink alone,
ooh,
you're depressed.
Yeah.
What's going on there? They got a bunch of fruit flies drunk, some of them in a group, others alone. And they watched what these fruit flies did when they had this ethanol vapor exposed to them. The ones in the group, they moved around really fast. A lot of activity, bouncing around. The ones that were alone,
dance floor,
did nothing.
They're on the fruit fly dance floor.
They did nothing. They were bouncing off. They were flying around.
And the ones who were solo,
yeah. And the ones that were all alone had the ethanol vapor exposed to them. They didn't really do anything. Then they looked at what happens when you heighten dopamine with the fruit flies in the group, and alone, same thing. The ones that had this heightened dopamine went over the top, even more activity, faster. The ones alone did nothing. And then they checked on where in their fruit fly brain is this going on. It's the dopamine 1 receptor. In the human brain, that is the receptor that acts with the biggest response to alcohol, and is also implied in alcohol abuse disorder. So now they're trying to answer this question: what's going on in the brain, or what part of the brain is responsible for our behavior when we're drinking with friends and alone? There is more dopamine firing when you are together with a group and exposed to ethanol than when you are alone.
Gotcha.
Alone.
Gotcha. And again, you've said this before on the show. One of the biggest conclusions, we talked about alcohol abuse and alcoholism in the past, and one of the best indicators that you may have problematic drinking is drinking alone.
Mm-hmm. That's Cornell University, absolutely
number one.
Convincing evidence.
Don't
do it.
Watch out for that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest red flag. Last little piece of science here, I'll make this quick. There are a lot of sexualities out there, so many that it's hard to keep track, I feel like. I don't know if you feel that way. I feel like I'm constantly behind the curve in using the right terminology.
The pansexuality, what else?
I'll go through.
How many are there?
40 plus. Here's
40.
A couple. You might know this one. Symbiosexual.
Finding people who are smart attractive?
Intelligence.
Like
you're sexually attracted to intelligent people.
Okay.
Demi or demisexual.
More than...
No. You need a romantic or emotional connection in order to be sexually attracted to them.
Emotion.
That has to be there. You're not just going to look at them and be like, right, it's on. You need the...
Oxytocin.
Yeah. Gray sexual?
No.
So you're mostly asexual? Mostly. Almost always. But
sometimes...
But once in a while.
Sometimes black and white?
Yeah. There's a new one, and this is a study from Seattle University, And that's kind of, to be honest, why I paid attention to it. I've walked through that campus.
Okay, what is it?
Capitol Hill. Symbiosexual. Symbiosexual is when you are attracted not to a person, but to a couple.
Ah.
And that was a completely...
Both at once?
Yeah, like a wild
same degree?
Yeah, like a wildly new concept to me. What does that mean? This is kind of an extension of this Harvard pleasure study. And 65 questions asked all these people, 375 of them. And of the 375, 150, 40% said, yes, they have this sometimes. Symbiosexuality. They're attracted to a couple. What are they attracted to? They're attracted to like the energy between these people, the way they interact, maybe their unified approach to life, and they find that
you want to be part of it. You want to be part of this.
Yeah, you want to be part of that. Research
make it a threesome kind of thing.
Well, or part of a larger group, polyamory. The author behind this, Sally Johnston, said she was first kind of introduced to this concept or had this idea, I think, as part of her polyamorous lifestyle. But yeah, a lot of people, I think the big caveat here is the people who were part of this study, the survey, almost all of them, 20 to 40 years old, white, not religious, tertiary education, middle class, urban U.S., specific group of people, but it exists. That's like the newest one for me on that big and ever-growing list of sexualities. And I'll add one more at the end here. Pomosexual.
Pomo.
If you
like potatoes?
No, that'd be really interesting. Pomosexuality is when you reject all of these labels for sexuality and you just say, enough of that. It's all fluid, or I don't want any part of that. It's overwhelming. And it is what it is.
What do you guys think about all these labels? Do you have any labels that you have that we didn't mention? Let us know, I guess.
Maybe.
Right?
Do we want to? Yeah, we do want to know. su@dw.com.
Science Unscripted.